So welcome back. Now we want to demonstrate step 2 for you. Gerald and I are going to do step 2 verbally, and then we're going to immediately after that show you what it looks like written down. And then we'll invite you to practice step 2 yourself. So remember, I'm talking about a positive moment, simple thing, sitting, quieting myself, noticing a bird singing outside and feeling great. That was the positive moment. So now to do step 2, I think about myself in that moment. One of the things we notice that seems obvious is that we are always part of our moments. So when we're thinking about a positive moment, it makes sense to ask, what was I doing or how was I being that made that possible? And what I notice is that when my mood lifts, it's because I love nature. I love nature, and that's something about myself that I like. I like it because it makes me happy. There's a little loop there. I like nature. Liking nature makes me happy. And the more attention I give to it, practically the happier it makes me. So I will name my strength related to that positive moment, nature lover. And now let's check in with Gerald and see what strengths he finds in his mindfulness moment.
All right. Well, my mindfulness moment was, as I described, is more like an experience, a 15-minute experience, and during that time, I was being more mindful than I usually am, and I felt good about it. But then when I think about the strengths that I was using, or what strengths I was showing when I was being mindful, that my strengths, I think, are was not about being the strength. I'm not strong. I'm not good at being mindful. I'm just learning to do it. I'm saying so. That isn't the strength that I'm going to talk about. The strength that I got out of that was that I was aware of that my processing was positive, and I was feeling good about it while I was doing it, and that positive thinking about myself as I was doing it was basically that's the strengths that I want to get out of it, and those strengths are much bigger than actually that I was aware during that time of my positive perspective, and I was aware that I was comfortable with it, and and um, and that positive perspective, it really came from, and I have other ideas about it, where it came from, and it's basically I don't something that I have. I'm very grateful for that I have this way. I call it good mental health. In the end, what you read goes about, and that good mental health is something that I was demonstrating there when I was being mindful, and so that strength is really important to me, and I know that strength of being of my good mental health, I can even understand at the same time some of the reasons I have the good mental health. And I realize that, for instance, the Serenity Prayer, which is very important for me, that Serenity Prayer is one of the reasons I have good mental health, because I accept the things that I can't change, and that really helps your mental health. So all that was going on when I reflected on that mindful experience. And so that's the main idea I'm trying to demonstrate here. Yeah.
Thanks, Gerald. That's great. So now you've seen us do step 2 verbally. And the next thing you'll see is what it might look like when we wrote it down. All right, so now you see what my strength looks like in writing. No surprises here. I am a nature lover. That's my strength, and I'm sticking to it. And let's see Gerald's strength, and we'll listen to what he has to say about that.
All right. This is, as you see, much more than just a simple strength that's connected with the experience or the positive moment. What I've done here is I've tried to write out several things together, and let's just read them. Well, first I'll take some time and you read it first, and then we'll talk about it together. So go ahead and read it. Okay. Now I'll just read it. We'll read it together. I'll read it out loud, and just to get it once more in mind. Some of my articulated strengths used during these positive moments are underlined below. My ability to be aware of my thoughts and feelings during this short period seems to me to be a valuable strength. I felt very good this short period because I became more aware that I was feeling good as it was happening. I became more aware of my positive feelings, which pervade my waking hours. In addition to just being aware of my positive feelings, I also became more aware of my general sense of well-being and positivity. I attribute some of this sense of well-being to my ability to accept what I cannot change, an important part of the Serenity Prayer, which I think is as the key to my excellent mental health. So that's it. Now this, as you can see, that my strength, and this may be partly because I've done this so many times and I've articulated my strengths so much that I have all these ideas that you probably wouldn't have when you're just starting this activity. So Jennifer's example was probably the better example for you as a starter. But my example shows what some of the things that would happen in the future when you articulate a positive moment or have a positive experience and think about it, that it all sorts of things come to mind, because I've already articulated some of these things before, and now this just brings it out. And so it sort of makes it more clear to me that this is really important. And when I think about it, and I mixed it, even the idea of accepting the things that I can't change as being a key to my good mental health. Now, I'm not saying I learned that from that Serenity Prayer idea, and I learned to do it because of that. I just found out that the Serenity Prayer happens to capture what I have done all my life, of that I've been really good at not getting all upset about things that I can't do anything about. And I always knew that I do the best I can all the time. I just trust myself that I always will do the best I can, so that that's good mental health, because I don't feel guilty. I don't berate myself later that I did something wrong. I just basically just think that I like what I do, and I think I do the right thing most of the time. So I'm just comfortable with that, and that's just why I have good mental health. So that's kind of this is a kind of a viewpoint from someone who's been doing this for years. So, and I wouldn't expect someone new at doing it would come up with these types of summary type of statements like this. So, but this demonstrates some of the possibilities for this step 2, and it will keep changing. It will keep getting better for you as you do the practice.
That's right. Thanks, Gerald. So as you can see from these two different examples, as with step one, you basically can't do it wrong. If you are reflecting on your positive role in your positive moment, you're doing it right. So now it's your turn to give it a try. And in the space below this video, you'll find an interactive box where your work again would be stored, that you could come back to it. Or you can use a journal, which we encourage, since you can keep that in the long term and keep all of your work on this process together.
Okay, great.